And I got a lot of evidence about something that should have been evidence day one, but here we are. What is it? It is 7 years later, the 2019 impeachment of Donald Trump. That was an absolute crime. The people who prosecuted him, the people who put in the phony whistleblowers complaint, the impeachment managers, anybody who touched this case from the opposing side should be arrested, tried, and jailed. Absolutely. It's so interesting, though. Now it seems like ancient history, and we find out new things about what really happened, and suddenly it doesn't seem newsworthy anymore. Why is that? Because the New York Times doesn't want to undermine, their Pulitzer Prize shelf or something like that? The country was, can't really remember now, distracted by this nonsense, and so was our president, and so was our entire government. The trial lasted, get this, how long was it again? 21 days. They screwed around about this phony issue. Totally phony. It was a coup, everybody. This was a coup. And yeah, it's like ancient history right now. 2019, 2020, who cares, right? We got other things. No, this is what they're banking on, that no one's going to go through the paperwork. And when the government, like Tulsi Gabbard, does, you can't engage the mainstream media. Well, it is our responsibility. I consider myself conservative. I consider this to be somewhat conservative media. Fair to say, right? Look, you got to ask the other hosts what their philosophy is, but you know where I'm coming from. I am totally MAGA. This report is amazing, and so much about this case, it proves the outright corruption of basically all of the players when they try to take down Trump with that phony impeachment number one. Yeah. It's interesting. Newspapers do this all the time, right? The allegation is huge. The correction, if they deign to do it, right down there, read the fine print. Well, it was a coup. It was. And thanks to Tulsi Gabbard, we're finding out some very interesting details. And folks, I'm going through the documents myself. And it does expose a conspiracy used by Congress to impeach President Trump, and they had a lot of cooperation from the deep state. I've been going through these documents. They are tedious. They are not fun to read. And it's not like, and this is why. This is why. If the New York Times and the rest, if they don't pay it attention, it just kind of seems to fade away. But it must not. Number one, they violated their own procedures. Now, that may not sound like a big deal. And this guy, Michael Atkinson is his name. I mean, who really cares about Michael Atkinson, right? The former Inspector General for the intelligence community. Well, I believe he was in on it. Absolutely. This guy came in with a phony baloney story about the phone call that he heard somebody talk about. We have his whistleblower complaint. The guy who went to, basically, this is like the human resources guy, right? This is the guy you go to get other people in trouble. Sometimes human resources does that. This is on page one. I know it's a little bit hard to read here, but this is the first thing. This is the whistleblower, and he says, I do not have direct knowledge of private comments or communications by the president. However, I have direct knowledge of interagency discussions about Ukraine in which blah, 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 blah. I have no direct knowledge of private communications. They should have thrown him out of the office right then and there. That's what the handbook says to do. Get out of here. You can't blow the whistle. Find somebody else to blow the whistle. You don't have a whistle.